Your next witness, Mr. Chu?
We call Gina Deuters.
All right, excuse me, say that again, I'm sorry.
Gina Deuters.
Okay, could you spell that last name for me?
Deuters.
Thank you.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to testify truthfully in this case under penalty of law?
All right, all right, thank you. All right.
And good afternoon, Ms. Deuters.
Hi.
Would you please state your full name for the record?
Yes, it's Georgina Diane Deuters, but I go by Gina.
Okay. And Ms. Deuters, where are you from?
London.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your occupation is?
I currently am a freelance creator who kind of conceptualizes and shoots and edits photographs and clips, largely for social media.
And how long have you been doing that?
Just a few years. Before that, I was a visual effects coordinator for movies.
And can you tell us just very briefly what that means?
It's basically the managing of CG and effects in films, the delivery of, and just the managing of that, yeah.
And how long did you do that?
From 2002 to 2016.
Okay. Any films we might recognize?
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, The Dark Knight, terrible Christmas movie that I won't mention, Pirates of the Caribbean 4? Yeah.
Do you know Johnny Depp?
I do.
And how do you know Johnny Depp?
He is a good friend of mine.
When did you first meet Mr. Depp?
I met him summer of 2005. It was actually at the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory premiere. My husband Stephen introduced me to him at a dinner after the premiere. And he was super sweet and warm and kind of ushered us in to join him at dinner. And I remember being very nervous like I am now. That's when we first met.
Okay. You say your husband, Stephen, introduced you to Mr. Depp?
Yeah.
How did your husband know him?
I'm sorry?
How did your husband, Stephen, know Mr. Depp?
Oh, he started working with him on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He started off in production, but then joined the Depp department during the shoot.
And does he still work for Mr. Depp?
Yeah.
And in what capacity?
Well, he started off as like a personal assistant, and it's kind of developed into a producer-writer type role with Johnny's guidance.
So for how long has he worked for Mr. Depp then?
18 years, I think since 2004.
Now, over those 18 years, where has he been working?
All over the place. It depends on where the film is being shot. So the Bahamas, Hawaii, London, LA, kind of all over.
And where have you been during this time?
Well, Stephen and I, our first two films we worked on the same film, but then he went off to do Pirates and I went off to do other films. So I wouldn't always be with them. I know that in between my projects, Johnny was always mindful that me and Stephen didn't spend too much time apart, so he would usually be, kind enough to fly me out to be with them wherever they were. Okay.
About how many times would that happen in a given year, if you can estimate for us?
2 to 3, yeah. And there'd be like, sometimes I'd be with them for like a month, sometimes just a couple of weeks.
Okay. Can you just generally describe for us, very briefly, your husband's relationship with Mr. Depp?
It's a great one. They are very close professionally and personally. I know that Stephen really respects Johnny and looks up to him. And Johnny's been a mentor to him and has really encouraged Stephen's career develop. And they're great friends too.
And can you just very briefly and very generally tell us what it was like on those time periods when you were spending time, chunks of time with Mr. Depp and your husband?
Well, if the,
Your Honor, relevance and character testimony 404, I mean, I'm not sure how this all relates to...
It's basic foundational fact, Your Honor. Just
I'll allow it, that's fine, go ahead.
okay. What was the question, sorry?
just generally describe for us.
Okay, so if they were working, it would be, like on wrap, we'd kind of have dinner together, and then I'd kind of entertain myself while the boys went off to work. If it was during downtime, it would probably be like a family holiday, so it would include his long-term partner Vanessa and their little kids, which was always really lovely, really happy memories there. So it kind of depended.
Okay. How well would you say you know Mr. Depp?
Very well.
Okay. Over the course of your friendship with Mr. Depp, and I apologize, did you say it had been 17 years?
I'm not great at maths, but 2005 to now, I think, is 17.
Close enough? Okay. Over the course of your friendship with Mr. Depp, have you ever seen Mr. Depp take drugs?
Yes.
And which ones?
I've seen him smoke weed and occasionally cocaine.
Okay. Have you ever seen him drink?
Yes.
All right. Have you ever partaken of any of these substances at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. About how many times would you estimate you've seen Mr. Depp use cocaine?
Oh, gosh. I mean, it's usually like, kind of a celebratory event, like after a gig or a party or something. 20? I don't know. 20 times over the...
About 20 times.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's over.
I mean, yeah, I haven't been kind of keeping count, but it's not a regular thing. It's sporadic. It's
Okay, and that's 20 times over what period of time?
gosh, I think like the last maybe 10 years.
Okay. And how often have you seen Mr. Depp consume alcohol?
Since I've met him.
Okay. Can you describe for us how Mr. Depp seems to respond to cocaine?
I quite honestly can't gauge much difference in his demeanor. This stuff kind of tends to make the average person a bit chattier and maybe stays up a bit longer than they should. But nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay. Same question for alcohol. How would you say, based on your interactions with him while he's drinking, how does he seem to respond to it?
It's kind of annoying, but he holds his liquor very well. Gosh, I kind of more jovial, or just I've never seen him. I've honestly never seen him like drunk. I've never been with him in that kind of situation.
Does he seem to drink to excess in your experience?
No.
Okay. Have you ever seen him get angry or violent while on cocaine?
No, definitely not.
Have you ever seen him get angry or violent while on alcohol?
No.
Ms. Deuters, do you know Amber Laura Heard?
Yes.
And when did you first meet Miss Heard?
When did I?
Yes.
Oh, well, we met kind of very briefly on the set of The Ron Diary, but, you know, it was just kind of quick greeting in the craft tent, I think.
And just so everybody's on the same page, what is the Ron Diary?
The Ron Diary is a movie that we shot in 2009 in Puerto Rico. And yeah, it starred Johnny and Amber. And I was there with Stephen. That was one of the times that I wasn't working, so I traveled out to be with Stephen, and I was around. I did end up doing a little thing for the visual effects department, but mostly it was leisure for me.
Was there anything noteworthy about your interactions with Miss Heard on that occasion?
No.
When did you next meet Miss Heard?
I think a couple of years later, Rum Diary press tour, I went to the premiere in London. And again, it was just a kind of, greeting. It wasn't, we didn't kind of hang out, chat properly or anything.
And again, just so everybody's on the same page, what is a press tour?
A press tour is when a film comes out, the actors and the director usually travel around with the film and show it in different cities all over the world, and the actors usually have to do interviews to promote it and just get the word out.
Okay. And this was a press tour for Rum Diary?
Yeah.
And what city were you in?
I went to the London one.
Okay. And does anything stand out to you about your interactions with Miss Heard on that occasion?
No.
Okay. Were you aware at that point that Mr. Depp and Miss Heard had started a relationship?
Yes.
And how were you aware?
Because Depp's team, Johnny's team, there's just always an open, constant flow of information. Because ultimately, Jerry Judge would be looking after Johnny, so would kind of get updates as to wherever they were going and what he was doing. And so in that way, we got kind of, notified that, they just got together.
Okay. And you mentioned a name there, Jerry Judge. Can you just tell the jury who that is?
Okay, I don't want to be upset, but Jerry Judge was Johnny's long-term security guy, and he, was a dear individual. We all loved him very much, and he was like family. He was like a dad, and unfortunately he passed away.
When did you next see Miss Heard after the press tour in London?
Okay, so that was like 2011. I think it was on a trip that we accompanied Johnny and Amber on to Las Vegas for a few days.
And can you estimate for us just approximately when that was?
Or maybe that was 2012. I'm so sorry, I'm blanking on the date, but it would have been after they'd started seeing each other, maybe a couple of months afterwards, and we just went out there for a few days. I don't remember if it was just like a little excursion for them, or if Johnny had something to do there. I don't remember that. It was just for like 2-3 days.
Anything stand out to you about that trip?
I was kind of excited to meet Amber, because she was Johnny's new girl, and but I remember kind of trying to, kind of make eye contact, and I kind of felt a bit ignored, which is fine, we're staff or whatever. So I didn't really chat with her.
When you say staff, what do you
Well, I mean, I'm not employed by Johnny, but I'm obviously Stephen's wife, and he's staff, and I didn't really interact with her.
Okay. So can you kind of describe what happened when you saw her then, if anything?
No, nothing of note. Just that she didn't really engage or make, just didn't really acknowledge our presence.
Okay. Did you see Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard interact at all on that trip?
Yeah.
Okay, and can you describe that for us?
They seemed pretty in love. They were tactile, and they seemed happy.
Okay. When did you next meet Ms. Heard?
When Johnny and Stephen had gone out on location to shoot The Lone Ranger, so I think that might have been the next year. So bad with dates, sorry. I think through Johnny and Stephen, Amber and I were kind of put in touch, and we went vintage shopping together, and went to get a coffee once, and then with Johnny and Stephen kind of looked around some galleries, art galleries.
About how long would you say the period was that you and Ms. Heard were together in this time frame?
How long were we both out on location?
Right, yeah.
I'm not sure about her, and I know that I personally made 2 trips, which seemed to coincide with her being there. So it was nice, kind of meeting up to go vintage shopping. She was really, really lovely, really sweet. We got on very well, and it was fun. It was, she's very charming.
Mm-hmm. Did you discuss her relationship with Mr. Depp at all?
I remember going for a coffee, and she seemed a bit, just a bit kind of frustrated that I don't think Johnny was ready to go public with their relationship yet, and I think that was, frustrating for her.
Did you form an impression that she wanted to go public immediately?
Objection, speculation, that's what Ms. Heard was thinking.
All right, I'll sustain as to speculation. Next question.
Were you out in public?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
When you were interacting with Ms. Heard in this time frame, did you notice at all whether she was wearing makeup?
No, I don't think she was wearing makeup. She's naturally beautiful. I remember, just thinking how gorgeous her skin was and how, pretty she was.
And, I mean, how could you tell that she wasn't wearing makeup?
Well, I consider myself to be quite the makeup expert. Earlier on in my adult life, I kind of got hormonal acne, which was awful. So I got kind of professional at covering that up. So I think I'm pretty good at telling if someone's wearing, like foundation or concealer.
Have you ever heard of arnica cream?
Yes. In fact, I actually was using it the other week.
You can use the microphone. I was having trouble hearing you. I'm sorry. Oh, there you go. It's on. There you go.
The question was, have you ever heard of it? And she answered it and then continued past. So it's
All right, she's answered the question.
She's answered the question.
All right, if you want to ask another question.
Sure, Your Honor.
That's fine.
What is it?
It's a homeopathic lotion that you use to help bruises heal faster.
And have you ever used it yourself?
Yes, I was using it a couple of weeks ago because I had a huge bruise on my hip after I had a fall.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know what it is.
And can you just describe for those of us who have no idea, like myself, what does arnica cream look like?
Oh, sorry, that was me. It's kind of like a white emollient cream, opaque, that you rub into your skin. You rub into the bruise.
Once it's been rubbed in, what does it look like?
Transparent.
Okay. So is the bruise still visible?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right, sustain as deleting.
Understood.
All right.
All right. After that, those interactions with Ms. Heard on the set of Lone Ranger in, did you say 2013?
I'm sure not sure if that's an objection, but
I'll withdraw the date, Your
All right,
Honor.
just remember-
After your interactions with Ms. Heard on the set of The Lone Ranger, Ms. Deuters, when do you next recall seeing Ms. Heard?
I think it was on the press tour for The Lone Ranger. By that point, I believe their relationship was public. And we traveled to Japan with their kids, Johnny's kids, and her friend, Brittany, who I think was, along as Amber's friend, but also to help take care of the kids while, Johnny was working. And
Okay. And why were you traveling to Japan again?
because The Lone Ranger was premiering there and they were doing press. And then we also traveled to Berlin, I think, as well, and all around.
Were you traveling with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard?
Yes.
Okay. Did you witness any interactions between Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard on these trips?
I mean, just generally on the plane, nothing to note. There was an incident, like when we were all at dinner together. And when I say we all, I mean also the other actors and the producers and director. And I noticed that Johnny was kind of hiding a drink on the side of his chair and taking secret sips. And I noticed, she kind of saw that and was quite angry about it. And I couldn't hear what was said, but he seemed to got told off by, a telling off. Which was, it was kind of weird, it was a bit like telling off a child.
What was he drinking?
I think it was champagne.
Okay, like a flute of champagne?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Do you have any impressions of, how would you describe their body language when they were having this conversation?
Quite, I think she was really angry, so, yeah, just kind of like dominant and just very angry and telling him off.
Okay, and how would you describe his body language?
I think quite just exhausted by the whole being told off like a child.
Over this period of time, and just to clarify, were Ms. Heard and Ms. Depp public at this point?
Yes.
Okay, so it was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we arrived at airports, there was like photographers everywhere. So, and we, it wasn't very public. Yeah.
Okay. Over this period of time, then, after they'd gone public, did you ever witness them together? Did you have a perspective on their interactions in general?
Objection, relevance, foundation, perspective.
Is your mic is it on? Because I'm just
Pushed it, I'm sorry.
There, now it is. Okay, thank you. All right, objection.
Relevance, foundation, leading.
Well, their interactions are directly relevant, Your Honor. I can lay more foundation if the court wants.
You don't lay a foundation, that's fine.
Did you ever witness Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp together in this time period?
Sorry, could you repeat? Sorry, I know you said it a few times, but could you just repeat it one more time?
Of course. Over this next couple of years,
Yeah.
after the press tour for Lone Ranger, did you have occasion to interact with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard at the same time? Did you see them together?
Very rarely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe a dinner here or there.
Okay.
Yeah.
From those occasions when you did see them, did you form any impressions about how they were getting along based on their interactions with each other that you personally witnessed?
Still don't think it's established the foundation. It's been a few times that he saw a couple dinners, and she's asking for her perspective on their relationship.
All right.
On those particular occasions,
What's the relevance of her impressions?
I'll rephrase here.
Okay.
How would you describe their interactions on those occasions when you witnessed them?
It's the same thing, Aaron. It's still no foundation.
If she's present,
I'll allow it if it's fine.
They seemed okay. I mean, they could be quite tense, but nothing to note. Nothing I would
okay.
remark on.
Were you invited to their wedding?
Yeah. Yes.
And did you attend?
Yes.
Okay. Can you just generally describe for us what the wedding was like?
It was definitely a predominantly amber event in the sense that a large percentage of the guests were her friends and family. And, a lot of his friends and family couldn't make it because it seemed to happen so quickly. And yeah, they seem to be having, her and her friends seem to be having a wonderful time.
Where did the wedding take place?
On Johnny's Island in the Bahamas.
And did you have any interactions with Miss Heard during this time period? Or
Yes.
Did you talk to Miss Heard when you were at the wedding?
Yeah. There were dinners, and it was certainly a celebration every day. Amber and her friend Rocky gave me my first taste of MDMA. And everyone, all her friends were on it, and so I tried that for the first time with them. It was like a party atmosphere.
Okay. Just briefly, can you sketch out for us in a little more detail how you came to take MDMA on that at the wedding?
Oh, well, it was evening time. I think I was a bit hungover from the day before, and I can imagine those two saw me, and when they first dropped the pill into my hand, I thought it was like a supplement, like a vitamin supplement to make me feel better. But no, they quickly said it was MDMA, and I kind of decided to throw caution to the wind and just try it.
You mentioned that you traveled with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard to Japan and Berlin and possibly other locations as well. Can you tell us where else you traveled with them?
Well, after the wedding, we headed to Australia
And why did you go to Australia?
because that's where Johnny would be shooting Pirates 5.
Okay, and approximately when do you think you were in Australia?
I think that I flew with Johnny and Jerry Judge and Stephen and a few others. I think that was February. And Johnny stayed in a house, and Stephen and I were based like a 35-minute drive away on the shoreline in the hotels. And I think Amber flew in a while afterwards.
Okay. You said you thought it was February. Do you recall the year?
Yes, I do. 2015.
So just so we have the cast of characters clear, who from this group was in Australia at this point?
So we've got, on the plane that I was on, it was Johnny, Jerry Judge, Stephen Deuters, Debbie Lloyd, and myself, and maybe one other.
Okay. You mentioned a name there I don't think we've heard before. Can you just tell the jury quickly who Debbie Lloyd is?
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we just have to take a few housekeeping matters up, so we're just going to have you take a recess for a few minutes, okay? So again, no outside research and don't talk to anybody, okay? All right. Ms. Deuters, I just had a question for you. Have you been watching the trial this past week?
I've seen clips of it online, yeah.
You've been watching, so you have seen parts of this trial?
Yeah.
Okay, and witness testimonies?
Yeah, I've seen clips of
You've seen everything. All right, does anybody have any follow-up questions?
Ms. Deuters, have you been watching?
It doesn't matter, she's been watching clips of witness testimony. All right, you're excused, ma'am, you can have, you're excused.
Okay.
Thank you. I will instruct the jury, they'll have to strike the testimony of Ms. Deuters. There's a rule on witnesses, Mr. Moniz.
Understood, Your Honor. This is
All
the
right.
first we're...
I believe that. I have no doubt in my mind that this is the first you've heard of it. Have a good day, ma'am. Thank you. I, Mr. Hoppe, I got it the first time. Thank you.